Right, welcome everybody to the PB Tech and Adobe Acrobat Pro virtual panel. It's our pleasure to have you here today. It's a really exciting initiative that's been brought on by our licensing team here at PB Tech, where we look after the licensing for our customers. We come to you with bad news today that there's going to be some pricing increases from Adobe that they've let us know in advance as at the 1st of July, and those are warned to be a 40% increase. So that's the bad news. The good news is that there's also been some increased value that's been added into the product, which will probably be why they have put the pricing up, along with, of course, the inflation and cost of power increasing and all those kinds of things. So, look, there's good news and bad news. There's more product available, more features available, and the increase is on the way. But as with what you would expect from PB Tech, we have a cunning plan to enable you to licensing team to try and circumvent some of that pricing increase. So we're going to go through that today. And there's different ways of procuring Acrobat Pro, and we'd like to run through those with you as well. And then at the end, we're going to be doing a giveaway. I think Victor, in the invitation that he sent out to you, gave some of you the impression that everybody was going to get a prize. But of course, we will be doing a draw and give somebody away a prize at the end of the session. So, look, it's my pleasure to have you on board, and you can ask questions all the way through. I will put those to the panel, and hopefully we come out with this with some great knowledge about Adobe Acrobat licensing and how you can make the most of that within your business. So I will hand over to the team just as a quick introduction so they can show their face and have a wave. Firstly, Jacob, do you want to say hi, Jacob, and just tell us who you are?
Yes, thank you, Rodney. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. My name's Jacob. I'm an Adobe BDM here, and I work very closely with PB Tech on their Adobe side of things.
Thank you, Jacob. And Victor, why don't you introduce yourself and then, firstly, Jamie, why don't you say hi?
Oh, Jamie.
No, we can't hear
Can't hear
Jamie.
you.
Just wave, Jamie. Just wave.
Oh,
Oh, there we go.
hello everyone. Sorry, my name's Jamie and I'm from the Adobe team here at PB Tech. I work alongside Victor.
And Victor, why don't you introduce yourself and then move on to your pieces of the introduction.
Perfect. So my name is Victor. I lead the software team at PB Tech. Probably already deal with many of you in this call for other products. So I oversee Microsoft, Vim, Adobe, and other products. Particularly with Adobe, I work alongside with Jamie. So yeah, look, we'll just kickstart everybody. That is here. Thanks for putting some time aside on a Friday. Wish I could give you all tablets, but I can't. So we're gonna do a Q&A in the end, and the first person that replies to our question will be getting the tablet. So you still got a pretty good chance of winning. You just got to be quick on your keyboard. So yeah, look, the expectations from the licensing department here is that you get out of this session knowing what's happening to Adobe Acrobat Pro, why these changes were implemented, what is that there for you, and how you can best leverage the product internally, right? So I also want to give you all an update around pricing, which is not a fun thing to talk about, but there are potential ways that we can work around this to prevent this price increase from hitting right away. And then last but not least, I want to give you a bigger picture on how Adobe structure their products, which is going to give you some knowledge that will extend to other products, not only Acrobat Pro, as well as the procurement channels for these products and where you should be looking at procuring when you are a business. So I'll hand it over to Jacob now, but I'll come back after that to deliver this.
Thank you, Victor. I'm just going to reshare my screen. So if you can give me a thumbs up, if you can see that, fantastic. Awesome. So again, welcome everyone. My name's Jacob. I just saw Adobe Evangelist. Pretty flattering title, actually. So first, what I just wanted to mention is these are the core product offerings that you may currently have, but what you can get through PB Tech. So it's what's called a VIP model, but basically the products are the Creative Cloud, Adobe Acrobat Sign. Used to be called Adobe Sign, but it's rebranded to Adobe Acrobat Sign. So I still try to use both of those names. And then we've got Acrobat Pro and Acrobat Standard. And what I'm going to be talking about today, like Victor mentioned, is the changes that have happened within Acrobat, but also one of our Creative Cloud offerings called Adobe Stock. Yep. So within those buying programs that I did mention just then, the VIP, you have VIP for Teams and VIP for Enterprise. So there's a couple of subtle differences. And if you can see here, these are the differences that you're getting. I'd say if it suits your business or whichever one does, have a talk to the PB Tech team and they'll be able to recommend which one is best for you. Now, before I get into the changes and the value of Acrobat, I just want to show you this slide as it is a incredibly valuable slide, and it's actually showing all the use cases of a PDF solution and an e-signature solution. So if you look here, you may notice some of the use cases that your business is currently using Adobe Acrobat or maybe a different PDF solution or even Adobe Sign or a different e-signature solution. So just keep this slide in mind as I go through it and understand potentially what use cases you can implement these products for, because it's not always just the obvious ones. There's always a lot more across the whole business that can use and benefit from these products. So what has changed? So as of August last year, or before August last year, within Acrobat Standard and Acrobat Pro, we had very basic e-signature capabilities, right? So all it was is 150 transactions. And now what a transaction is when you send a PDF for a signature. So that is one transaction when you've sent that PDF out. And you basically had 150 of those per user. So not that many, but it was very basic e-signature capabilities where you would send that PDF for signature and you'd receive the PDF back with a signature. There were no templates, no branding on your PDFs, no nothing, right? Very basic. So what had happened as of August last year is Adobe has increased the value and the features within Acrobat Standard and Acrobat Pro. So now we have unlimited Acrobat Sign transactions within Acrobat Standard. Still that basic usability, but you've got an unlimited amount of transactions that you can send. Now with an Acrobat Pro, much the same, you have unlimited transactions, but you've also got the small to medium business version of Acrobat Sign. Now you may be thinking, what is the small to medium version of Acrobat Sign? Well, this is it. This is it here. So basically, we've got the two tables here. First one is just the individual. This is with an Acrobat. Again, very basic, like I said, small to medium business version. So now you've got basically shared templates. So if you've got a PDF that you're regularly sending out and it's the same PDF every time, like let's say a new employment contract or a health and safety contract that you have to sign, you can make a template and get that sent out to every new employee that comes on. You've got more administrative settings with those e-signatures. You can select participant roles. So when you're sending the PDFs out, you can choose for someone to sign it or maybe someone to fill it out or someone to approve. You've got the options there on what you want to achieve with that. You've got branding, so you can put your own logos on these PDFs so they know that it's coming from you. You've got the self-service web forms, you've got online payment. You can send these PDFs for signature in bulk. And if you have any maths involved on these PDFs, like you're doing pricing or quantity of products or whatever it is, the PDF has advanced form calculations as well to calculate those pricings.
Jacob, can you just run through the VIP only part at the top?
VIP only, yes. Like I mentioned at the start with the VIP teams and enterprise, VIP stands for Value Incentive Plan, which means that you are really only getting these features through purchasing through a reseller, much like PBTick. Whereas if you're going for the individual licenses on the Adobe website, you're not getting these additional features. And now, why would Adobe want to do this? What's even the point? Well, we've got a Forrester report here that is basically showing the value of e-signatures across the market, right? And there is a basically plethora of different types of savings that you get from doing this. You've got, first of all, the cost savings, and this is in comparison to paper-based signatures, right? Costs a lot to still send and print out paper and sign and scan and send it back. So you've got the licensing cost savings by having the Acrobat Pro or Acrobat Sign. You've also got, sustainability cost savings. So you're not actually shipping anything, you're not printing, we're not cutting down trees anymore. Everything's all digital. You've got the faster transaction speeds as well, which really improves the customer experience, which we can see. Because, I'm sure all of you have signed a piece of paper and had to print it and send it back to whoever it is. But now life is so much easier because we can access these files on our phone or on our laptops or tablets or whatever. You can sign it and send it back, and just it improves the customer experience and the workflow processes that we have within there. Now, I'll just leave the slide here for a bit, but you also may be wondering, why did Adobe add all these features to Acrobat Pro? And as you all would probably know, it's become more of a competitive market in the PDF and the e-signature space recently, right? There's a lot more competition out there. You've got the likes of DocuSign or Nitro or Foxit or all these other ones out there, right? But when it comes to the end-to-end PDF creation and e-signature process, you need to have two different softwares or two different platforms. So you may be using, let's say, Acrobat Pro now, but you may be using another e-signature process on top of that. So now you're paying for two different softwares to accomplish basically now the same thing that Adobe Acrobat Pro can do on its own. So yes, as Rodney said, there's some bad news with that price adjustment, but I don't like to look at it as bad news. I like to look at it as an opportunity, because if now you have got the possibility to do the whole end-to-end solution from creating the PDF, editing it, and then sending it out for e-signature, and you can do that within the all-encompassed one platform, then that's benefiting your business and your processes a lot more efficiently than if you had the multiple softwares. So, yep. If I move on, one of the other fantastic benefits that you get within Adobe is, actually, I'll go back. There's a kind of funny story here. So basically, the CEO of Adobe and the CEO of Microsoft, they went to the same high school when they were in India. Obviously, they weren't CEOs at the time, but when they eventually became the respective CEOs of their company, they started working together, and they got their engineers to work together. So now what we have with Microsoft is what's called a Tier 0 partnership. So that means that we are Microsoft's preferred solution when it comes to PDF and e-signatures. So if you basically have any of these Microsoft products, or you're a Microsoft house, you don't even need to leave these applications to use the Adobe features or the Adobe apps. If I was to give one example, more with Adobe Sign and Teams, if you've got the workflow set up properly, we can be in a Teams call. I can send you a PDF. we can get it signed. You can send it back to me, and I can send that straight to my SharePoint without even needing to leave the Teams call or app. It's fantastic, and it improves the workflows drastically as well.
Jacob, we just got a question there about Excel. It's not on your pretty little picture there.
Well, someone's got a very keen eye, but no, you can move Excels into PDFs and get those signed as well. I actually don't know why Excel isn't in here, but I have personally had an Excel document, changed it to a PDF, and then got that sent out for signature. But typically you wouldn't sign Excel documents. But I can assure you that, yeah, there is an Adobe Acrobat feature plugin within Excel as well. Yep. And now we're back to the slide here that I mentioned at the start. There was actually another slide that I thought I had in here, but what I did want to mention that is actually relevant to this slide is a lot of businesses that I have spoken to will use or have different processes across the different departments within their organizations. So let's say for HR, it could be Adobe, finance, it could still be paper-based, for marketing, it could be something else. But what this means is if there is different products or different processes being used across the entirety of the organization, this means that there are siloed data that you can get, so that creates inefficiencies and a lack of collaboration as well, because it's going to take you a lot longer to get the information you need to be able to share to different departments across the business. Whereas if you have all your departments under the one ecosystem, you're able to basically collaborate efficiently, remove those inefficiencies, and prevent risk across the organization as well, which allows for basically better workflows. And as everyone knows nowadays, time is money. So if you can increase your workflow and efficiency, that's better off for everyone in the long run.
Yeah, I suppose it's helpful for you to be able to train everyone in your organisation about the processes that you use and keep things simple. From a staff training perspective, Jacob, and
You're right.
that would give you the efficiencies of bulk purchasing licensing, which brings your price down as well. We've just got one question here, which is quite good from Dinesh, regarding your previous slide and the relationship between the two CEOs. At the moment, of course, you need to purchase, Victor's team and our licensing team manage the Adobe licensing purchasing separately than Microsoft. How tight is the forecasted relationship between Adobe and Microsoft, and is there going to be a point where it becomes some bundling happening within the Microsoft 365 suite? Any news on that?
That is a great question, Dinesh. And I don't have an answer for you. I don't have a predicted timeline or anything like that. I mean, it is completely up to PB Tech if they want to bundle a few licenses together. But as of when purchasing both Microsoft and Adobe, it's currently completely separate, and I've got no note or timeline on if that would be put together at all.
Yep.
Can I just quickly?
I'll go ahead,
Sorry.
Victor.
Yeah, I was just gonna add on the top of that our cloud licensing portal that we give all our clients access for to procure primarily Microsoft 365 licenses also have Adobe products. So although it's not streamlined, from a brand point of view, into basically one brand with many products, you can still utilize the same portal to deploy different licenses, and then that should facilitate things for you when it comes to procurement. So yeah, just go ahead.
Nice.
I was just gonna say the same thing actually, Victor, that PB Tech have managed to do what Dinesh is asking for, so to have one portal that you can manage all your licensing from. So we'd be keen to talk to you about that, Dinesh. Go ahead, Jacob.
Cool. Well, that was actually everything that I wanted to talk to about Acrobat. actually, no, I could probably think of something else. With those changes that are happening, that I mentioned before, and if I actually go back to this slide here, now as we mentioned, there is going to be a price adjustment coming purely to Acrobat Pro. It's not going to be to Acrobat Standard, so it's worth asking the question to your employees. Do you need this increased functionality within Acrobat Pro? Do you need the e-signature capabilities, or can you do what you're currently doing with Acrobat Standard? Because it's still got the full PDF functionality to be able to view edits and everything in between. But I think it's worth asking the question, because then you could potentially be saving a bit of money, but also being able to do the exact same workflow as you're currently doing. So that's worth an internal discussion, and even come and talk to Victor and Jamie as well to I suppose better evaluate that. But if I move on, that is everything from an Acrobat standpoint. I'm now moving on to Adobe stock. And what I'm going to say is every photo and every picture that you're about to see on these upcoming slides are all from Adobe stock, all of them. And if you don't know what Adobe stock is this is actually our flagship royalty-free asset library for content creators and marketers, or actually for everyone. But we've got over hundreds of millions of different assets, royalty-free assets as well, across Adobe stock. And this comes from photos to videos to audios to vectors, templates, 3D templates, and everything you can think of for every situation. So it is a fantastic product. Like I mentioned, I've got photos that are royalty free, so you can access those and put them into any projects that you are doing. And what we do with this is we actually get these photos and videos and everything from local creators, which is really cool. So any specific cultural artists or cultural designs that you are looking for, well, you're most likely going to get this in Adobe stock, which is one of our value adds compared to maybe some of the other asset libraries that you may be using. But also don't get too excited by the local artists. We don't just take anyone who puts up a photo and chuck it on Adobe stock. Obviously, it's got to be verified by Adobe first. It's like I couldn't take a photo and get that posted on Adobe stock. But yeah. Next is, again, any type of situation you can think of where you need a royalty-free asset, you'll be able to find the right asset for you for that situation. Am I still there?
Yep, we've got you back, Jacob.
Cool. Sorry about that. There's always some internet issues going on. What we'll mention is Adobe stock is also powered by our fantastic artificial intelligence platform called Adobe Sensei. So just a couple of the features here. And I'll tell you why I'm mentioning these features in a second. But basically, if you want to get a asset that's one that is similar but not quite the same, we've also got with Adobe Sensei, if you've got a project that needs to have a specific asset that's got specific dimensions, well, chuck Adobe Sensei in there and it will basically pick out the right photo for you that fits into those dimensions as well. So that is saving so much time when you're trying to brand the right project. Also, obviously, because it's an Adobe product, it is natively integrated within the Creative Cloud products as well. So if you need to use Adobe stock, you don't even need to leave Photoshop or Illustrator or whichever platform you're using, because you can get the Adobe stock asset right there. Now, the reason why I mentioned all those benefits and perks of Adobe stock is because I don't know how everyone is getting their royalty-free assets at the moment, but if you have a marketing team, you require royalty-free assets. And the way that you are getting these, or when I talk to most businesses, the way that they're getting them is they might do it on a ad hoc basis. So you might buy one asset here or one asset there, and you get it off, Getty Images or Google Images, and it might cost you, $50 for one, or $100 for another one, or maybe $200. And that makes it very difficult to track your spending and have that budget predictability. Whereas you buy the Adobe stock subscription, and you can get this attached on your Creative Cloud, but you buy the Adobe stock subscription, that is an all-encompassed price that you get, and you get access to unlimited Adobe stock assets. Now, there's obviously different versions of how many assets you can buy, but basically, if you purchase the Adobe stock subscription, you know exactly how many you're going to get and exactly what price that's going to be as well. So in terms of budget predictability, going through Adobe stock is fantastic, but you've also got the ability to use, or to actually save time from using Adobe stock, because it is integrated within the Creative Cloud licensing. Now, like I mentioned, there are many different versions of Adobe stock, which I'll actually go into next. But basically, with those licensing, you can have pooled licenses for your teams. So if you've got a marketing team, you can actually see exactly who's buying which asset, or using a credit on which asset. And then once you've done that, you've actually got access to that asset forever. Right? Once you buy it once, you've always got it, and you can see exactly who bought it, exactly how many people are downloading assets, and you've got that across your whole team. You've got the license history, like I mentioned, and then you can also manage your Adobe stock plan as well, like I mentioned, under the one encompassed bill, which allows for an easy renewal. And now let's say you also run out of credits or the ability to use more of these assets. Well, it's super easy to just buy more credits or another subscription or whatever it is to be able to get more that you need. But this way, with the license management or license history, you're able to see how many your team actually needs and how much they use on a regular basis as well. Whereas if you're not using Adobe stock at the minute, it's hard to track how much your team is actually needing to use these royalty-free assets, right? And how much they're spending on them. So huge benefit going through Adobe stock. And then here, I know the slide's got a lot of noise on it as well, but these are the different options and capabilities you can get with the different Adobe stock subscriptions or credit packs. So basically, all I'd say to this is, if Adobe stock is of interest and you think your team can benefit off this, reach out to either Victor or Jamie, and they'll be able to recommend the right products, the right version of Adobe stock that best suits your needs and use cases. And that is everything.
Thanks very much, Jacob. Just before we go back to Victor to talk about the way to do the licensing and the benefits of each, we'll just go back to Adobe Acrobat Pro and the signature capabilities around integration with, Keith's got a question about integration with Xero.
Yep.
And other financial packages. How does that work? Has it got integration yet, or do you need to break out and use a separate package?
Yep. No, that's a great question. So when I did say Microsoft, it's because we're the preferred Microsoft partner, but that doesn't mean we cannot integrate with any other systems. We've got more than 200 native integrations within our Adobe products, within Acrobat Pro as well, so they can integrate with the likes of Xero, with the likes of Salesforce, Oracle, all the main softwares that customers do use, Adobe does integrate and has native integrations with them. However, if you have a custom platform or a bespoke software that you've created, that means that we don't have that native integration, but we are able to create something that does integrate with that. So I've never had or heard of a problem of Adobe not being integrated with something, but it also depends on what products you're getting, depends on the level of integration that you do get.
Cool. So that's a yes to 0. And Tariq's got a question about Dynamics 365. I'm assuming with the close relationships with Microsoft, that's all tickety-boo, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Excellent. Victor, do you want to just run through with us why a customer should buy off a reseller like us? Well, don't talk about any other reseller, of course. Only talk about PB Tech, but buy off a reseller versus buying on their credit card. And in fact, one of the first questions that we've got for you to answer is that somebody had their credit card blocked online when they were trying to purchase. Who was the question at the top here? Priscilla said she tried to upgrade her Acrobat Pro last week and their bank put a block on the credit card. Is there any security issues that we should be aware of? Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's a very good question. Look, credit card, the short answer to that is credit card is an unfit payment method for you to purchase license for your business, right? Full stop there. It's perfectly fine from a personal point of view, but it's not tailored to suit actually a business environment. So we have an alternative to that. And I'll just quickly cover up. So if I take just a step back in here, I just wanted to give you all in a call an overview of how Adobe structured the licenses, right? They have 3 different flavors of most of the products they have out there. So they call them individual, teams, and enterprise, right? So looking into them individually, individual licenses are your consumer products. So when you go through adobe.com and you buy one of the consumer licenses in there, you buy an individual type license. That's how they call their consumer product. Teams is the first one under the commercial umbrella. So you buy a correct product for your business, and it has basically additional features that I'm going to go over by going on a commercial, purchasing a commercial product. And then you have enterprise. So the core difference between the enterprise and other products, if you remember back from Jacob's slide, when he talks about the integrations, some integrations to some applications are only available on an enterprise license. So it is important that you tell us what you're going to be using the products for, so we can actually point you to the right license and not, put you on the wrong plan where you don't have the integration that you wanted to use, right? So now you understand from a bigger picture point of view the different flavors. I'll just quickly share my screen with you all, just to give a bit of a guidance around the VIP program and what that means from a values point of view. Keith had a question in the beginning: what's the value of the VIP? I don't understand that. So Keith, that the core and everybody else. So the core value of the VIP program. VIP stands for Value Incentive Plan. So that is a tier system discount program that's based on volume, right? So the more licenses you have, the cheaper your price is. So if you have 10 licenses, you're going to be tier 1, 20 tier 2, and you keep on going and progressing up to, I believe, 100 licenses, right? So the VIP program is only available through the commercial channel or through resellers such as PB Tech. If you buy through adobe.com, and if you even if you're buying Teams license or if the price license through adobe.com, you are not on a VIP program, so you will not enjoy of any discounts available out there, right? So I'll just as you can see, there are many differences between buying from us and the commercial channel and buying from adobe.com an individual license, but I'll just stick with the 3 most important ones. So the discount program, which I just mentioned, invoices versus credit card, which is Priscilla's questions. So when you're buying from adobe.com, you can only pay using your credit card, right? So it isn't safe. It can incur more financial costs. It can be hard to track and manage as well. So when you buy your license through PB Tech, we co-term all the plans. We invoice you for those plans, and it's very predictable for you what your expenditure is around the product. and it's much more reliable and sustainable, I would say. The third main reason why you would be dealing with PB Tech under the VIP program, paying, using via invoice, is so you can access resources and expertise in country, right? So we have a team in house, which is me, Jamie, and other team members that looks after Adobe only. But it doesn't limit only to PB Tech. We can pull in resources such as Jacob on this call, e-signature specialists from Australia if it needs to be, and we can help you plan the integration or the deployment of features and products that you want to use from the Adobe world, right? So let's say right now you don't find very relevant that you have e-signature available on Acrobat Pro, but your business is going towards a more sustainable practice. It's going towards digitalization, an agile process, and then you're going to be planning the implementation of eSign, for example. You can come to us, and we can pull in the experts and ourselves to actually clarify the process for you and basically guide you through how to implement that from a best practice point of view as well, right? So that it's basically like on its core, these three are the most important things and the reasons why you would deal with PB Tech. Obviously, for buying a commercial product, a Teams or enterprise product, you receive access to Adobe Admin Center. So that's where you can assign an unassigned license, run reports, and etc. as well, right? So we don't operate with consumer products, and we just stick with the commercial products, regardless of which version is the correct one for you as well. Just Ronnie, is there any questions that are coming through at this stage, or can I carry on?
We just had one question about whether if you have already got your licensing from Adobe and you've just renewed your subscriptions a couple of months ago, is it possible to transfer it across to a VIP license and get invoiced through PB Tech?
Very good question. Indeed, you can. So we can transfer it, and the migration process is actually really simple. We set up a new VIP ID for the client on the Adobe Admin Center, and then we deploy the new products in there. So we do a quote for the plans that the customers use, and then upon acceptance, we deploy all the plans. And then once that is done, we help you to raise a ticket with Adobe and request the cancellation through the adobe.com, and they basically do a pro rata refund on your credit card, and then you fully migrated to PB Tech. So,
and I assume,
yeah.
Given the 40% increases in price from the 1st of July, that those increases will also be on the Adobe.com offering.
Yes. So that's going to be across the board. And we do have a bit of a strategy to go around that. It is on a case by case basis. So like we all know, it's going to go up by 40% from 1st of July. So in theory, if you're renewing after that period, you're going to be paying 40% more. But we are playing around with renewal times as well as commitment time. So Adobe has some commitment options under the commercial umbrella that we can leverage off and try to renew that earlier or apply that now to actually delay the price increase to 1, 2, and sometimes even 3 years. So we still got a couple of months to go. I think a couple of months, right? It is the time for us now to be talking with you, to looking at your individual case and see how we can put a strategy together to delay this price increase for you guys. If Adobe Pro is the correct product, right? We'll also be transparent with you if downgrading from Pro to Standard might be the best path for you at this point in time as well.
So the perfect outcome would be that you come to PB Tech licensing team, we look at all your 20 licenses that you're using of Acrobat Pro, we say, oh, well, 10 of them should be standard, not Pro anyway, because of the feature upgrade. We renew for the next 3 years at the cheaper pricing, and everyone happy. Is that the magic that we would love to see happen?
That is the magic. Exactly.
Excellent.
So that's what we're going to try to achieve for most of our clients out there. So yeah, please talk to us. We're going to be sending an email after this session as well for everybody that is on this call. So you can have a very easy path to start communicating with us. But if you drop an email to your account manager or fill up the form on our Adobe page online, we'll work with you to try try to help you from a finance point of view as well for these licenses. Yeah.
Jacob, if people do transfer their online, their .com licensing through to the VIP program, is there any experience, bad negative experience at the user level? Do they lose their profile or lose their settings, or lose anything like that, or is it simply a transfer across?
Yes, no, that's a great question, Rodney. And that honestly depends on the type of licensing that you've got with Adobe.com. If you've got all individual licenses, well, basically you're getting rid of that completely and coming into a new Teams agreement. However, if you do have a Teams, like a team business agreement through Adobe directly, we can get that migration done over and you won't lose access to anything. And it will still be the same logins and everything like that as well. So it is quite a simple process. The only, I would say, downside from that is there might be a few hours in the day that you choose where you won't have access to any of your Adobe products, but we will work with you to choose a time that won't affect your business operations at all.
Excellent. Okay, well, we've only got 4 minutes left, and we've got a very important thing to do, don't we, Jamie? So maybe KP, if you could share the screen.
Yes. So thank you for everyone just for staying to the end. I know everyone's looking forward to what's about to happen. So if you can, we're just going to pop up a question on the next slide just in a few seconds. And whoever answers that question first in the chat, so get ready to answer in the chat, you will win a Samsung Galaxy Tab A8, sorry. I'll just just be fast. Get your keyboards ready. We will pop up the question in about 3 seconds, I believe, KP. So just in 3,
Here we
2, 1.
go.
Yep. So if you can name the Adobe's AI
Oh,
tool
Jen,
integrated
you're
with
a
it.
genius.
Wow, yes, congratulations to Jen for answering that so fast. We will be in touch with you just to get that prize out to you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today, and thank you.
Thanks, KP. KP, can you just put back the previous slide? Thanks. Yeah, so any questions, just email the licensing team, licensing@pbtech.com, licensing@pbtech.co.nz. We've got a whole team here that's ready to help, and we'd love to migrate you across, selfishly, of course, because we want more of your business, but also it's genuinely a better option for you at that teams and enterprise level of your licensing. If you're an individual user and you've only got one of the licenses in your business, then this is most definitely not for you, because it's it's just another thing that you need to worry about and transfer across, and it's not necessarily the best thing. But certainly if you're a business and that you've got multiple users, then this is the one for you. So we'd love to hear from you. If you can be in touch with us, that'd be great. We've got we've recorded this session, so we'll be putting this up on our Adobe page and send you a link. And if you would like a copy of the presentations, we can send those out as well. And the way that you would get that is by going to licensing@pbtech.co.nz, or by going to our website, typing Adobe and filling in the form, and we can give you all the information that you need. So appreciate your attendance, and really love having you on the call. So have a great Friday and enjoy the afternoon and the long weekend ahead.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.